Okay, I've got all the ingredients ready, and I'm using a part of my pruning from the garden, and if you look closely, I've drilled a few holes in various places along the ends of the trunks, in and around the main trunk. And I'm going to start by gluing one in here. So I'll take my glue, put a bit of glue down there as well. Blast, that one's broken. It's going to take a little while. It does say 60 seconds on the tube. Oh yeah, it's just about got it. Just starting to sag back down a little bit. Give it a bit longer. Where's my other bit of sea foam? It's starting to sag a little bit there, and I don't like it. So I'm going to put the other tube of glue there just to hold it up where I want it. And still a bit of leaf there. Right. Where do I want to put this one? Anyway, that's got it. So I'm going to have to trim some of these bits off here. Make that fit in there. It's very hard work. Put a bit more glue on that one. It's starting to sag a little bit again. Put a bit of glue on that one. And then I'm going to have to go away because I can't leave the camera running. And I'm pretty sure you don't want to be sitting watching glue dry for 60 seconds. Okay, so it's taken a little while to dry, even with the activator. So what I'm finding I have to do is glue the sea foam in the position where I want it and prop it up with various items, as you can see here, and go away and leave it to dry, because it takes more than 60 seconds, even with activator. And as you can see, it's not looking too bad. A little while for that to dry, so I'll leave it for half an hour or so. So I've drilled a hole in the bottom and put a screw in underneath, screwed it to a piece of wood, and I am now finding that I'm using a multitude of items to hold all the things in place. A little bit Heath Robinson, but I'm getting it all together. There's the latest one, just there, being held in place by a big ball of string and a paintbrush to hold it up while it dries. And all these little tiny ones here are all finished. It's just a question really of putting on the glue, spraying it with activator and using something, whatever you can find, to hold it up. Not too bad really at the moment. I've got quite a lot to do yet. Got a few more trunks there to finish off around this side, and then we shall be done. Well, I've got all the pieces fitted anyway. That'll do. I don't think I want to make it too thick. I want it reasonably sparse. I mean, when I get all the flock on here, it'll look a little bit thicker. It is O gauge. There's my little fella. So we've got a sort of 6 foot guy here, or 5'5", 6 foot. So it's quite a large tree. I was conversing with a TV presenter on YouTube once, and he knew quite a lot about lighting and all this sort of thing. And he was saying that he was rather an old man, and he was saying that some of the old English oak trees were 150 feet tall, which is probably true, but 150 feet in O gauge is 4 foot. If you're doing a double O gauge tree, you don't really think you want 2 foot tall trees on your layout. So you have to apply a little bit of modeller's license, and this one is just about the right size for the model. Another little thing here, a little hut that I've built, and it looks reasonably well in perspective, I think. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, where is the thing? What I'm going to do now is fill all these areas around here. That one, where the transition from trunk to branch is rather harsh, and it needs to be filled, because as you can see from this one here, if I can get to it, it looks rather ugly. So we're going to do something about that next. So here I have my special bark mixture, which is a mixture of poster paint, tea leaves and PVA glue, and it dries nice and thick. You put it on the branch like that, and that's how it dries. And it's made up like this with some PVA glue, red, black and a little bit of white, however much you need. And then I take some tea leaves, and stir it all up. Bit of black, bit of red, so this is really more like the colour I'm looking for. It's quite thick now. A little bit more red, I think. Should just about do it. It'll take a while to dry because it's PVA and poster paint, which is water based. And take about an hour to dry, I think. So I want to go here first, scrape it on. Spread it up the branch if possible. Better. And then just keep going around all those areas. Just to remove the obvious fact that okay, so I'll carry on doing that. And pretty sure you don't want me to leave the camera running and watch me do this, a bit like watching paint dry. So I shall come back later. And we're getting on quite well, really. The most important thing is to actually get plenty of the mixture around the base of the piece of sea foam. Get it all stuck to that bit. And it's not too important about these bits down here because I'm going to spray it anyway with some well, probably a really darkish chocolatey brown, dark chocolate brown. It's sort of a reddy sort of brown, it looks to me. I think I've just about done all of them now. I don't really think I need to do any more to these pieces. It will dry like this because it contains PVA glue and sawdust, as you know, and the object is just to, as I said before, remove the fact that those very thin seafoam branches are fixed to the main armature. And it just disguises the fact that it's only a model. And you'll also find that spreading it up the branch a little way like this will give the trunk a sort of gnarly effect as well, because of the little bits of tea leaf that are in there. I think that's just about it now. Just about right now. A little bit down there. Don't think we need to do any more. We've just about got everything. Just a couple of small leaves in there that need to be removed with great care, of course. You really don't want those in there. They are not looking good. Really, I should have done this before I glued them onto the armature. Anyway, that'll do. I think I've got everything. One more quick look around. That's it. So now it is time to paint this model now. It's looking pretty good. Got some little tiny pieces of seafoam here that have broken off, and you'll normally find on the bottom of trees, as you know, you find these little tiny branches, so a little bit bigger one there. And yeah, it's just a lot of attention to detail, really. Just make that a little bit fatter up there. That's it. Probably shorten this video anyway, it's starting to get a little bit too long. In fact, I might upload it to YouTube. That's it. There's an old dead branch there that has snapped off. In fact, there's quite a few. There's one here as well, and there's one there, and there's a few around here as well. So there we go. Time to go and get the spray gun out. Okay, so I've decided to use Tamiya Whole Red XF9 for this. It's a similar colour, sort of a reddy, sort of browny colour. And got everything mixed up. That should just about do. Don't really want to put the spray gun too close to the model, because you're going to damage the branches. Okay, so finally, after 3 coats, I've got it covered. Quite surprising that it took a bit more covering than what I thought it would be taking, but it's darkened up quite nicely now. The trouble is the blooming gun keeps clogging up. Anyway, as long as you cover all of the branches, take half an hour. You have to get your paint to the right consistency, like that, and then it becomes much easier. If you don't have a spray gun, then well, you're going to have to use a paintbrush to paint all the individual main trunks, and the rest, well, you'll just have to leave them the same colour because they'll be covered up by flock anyway. But you could actually, anyway, that'll do. You could actually buy a can of spray from Halfords, sort of burgundy red, I would imagine, something like that would do the job. But it'll take 3 coats anyway, and don't hold the spray gun too close to the model, otherwise it's going to damage all your sea foam. So I'm going to do a little bit of a test piece before I start to do anything to the tree, which is always a good idea, whatever you're doing. And I've got a couple of bits of scatter material here. This is some static grass, 2mm I think, but should be good enough to give a little bit of foundation to the bit of, there we are. So it's just sort of giving it a little bit more body. For the Javis scatter material to adhere to. This is quite a dark tree green. Should do the same thing. Well, I'm using hairspray as an adhesive, by the way. This feels very gritty, this Javis stuff. I'm not sure whether that's a good thing. Or a bad thing. But seems to seems a little bit heavy for that. That's broken anyway, that bit. Anyway, it's only a test piece. Apart from the white trunk, doesn't look too bad really. Don't try another one. So this time where is it? There it is. Over there a bit so you can see it. I now have the same stuff here for thickening up, which works really well. and I have quite a lot of different supplies of scatter material, and this one is from Model Scenery Supplies, and it's fine turf and foliage cover mid-green FP202, and that is now nicely thickened up. Just put a bit more on there. That's it. Right, now then, hold the can of hairspray quite a distance away if you can. Obviously to avoid any damage to the sea foam is normal, and also to give a better coverage as well. Right, let's rescue those bits. That blooming stuff is expensive. I think that's it. Just need to hold it right up here. A few bits falling off there. So we'll pick them up and put them back on. That's seems to be a kind of foam material. Quite heavy layers. Piece there, that's no good. Shredded foam, I do believe. Right, that's it. And that is not too bad. If I can get it in focus, it's not too bad really. So I'm going to go ahead and use that on the model. So I think going to take quite a while. I'll just do a little bit here just to show one small part of the tree being foliized. Is that a word? Foliized. Just invented a new word. And I think that'll do. Right, to do it back to the other side. Probably better to do this tree while the tree is actually standing up itself. Because the spray can is not meant to be held like that. But just for the purposes of the model video, this is how I'm going to have to do it. Okay, so that seems pretty acceptable. So I'll continue like that now. So these are the items of flock that I used. This 2mm static glass, and that gave it some body for the sponge to stick on, and I call it sponge from, as I said before, Model Scenery Supplies, and it's a kind of a dyed green sponge that they've obviously shredded up somehow. I know how I did it. I did it with a cheese grater. Soaked a sponge in water and then put it in an ice cream tub and just grated the block of ice, taking the sponge with it. I've got a bag of shredded sponge somewhere, but it's all different colours. And finally I went over the model with some of this very, very dark, fine, well, I don't really know what it is. It's sort of a very fine powdery sawdust, but it's very dark, forest green sort of stuff. And obviously your can of hairspray. God, that is messy stuff. And obviously your can of hairspray. And there it is, the finished tree. Quite pleased with that. There's quite a nice variegated foliage. There's some leaves on trees are dark and some are lighter, not all the same colour. Yeah, quite happy with that. I like the way the main trunk goes up into the canopy and branches out, and the way that you can see through the canopy like you can with real trees when you're standing underneath them. And sometimes when you're pruning your garden, you come across that pruning that is just the right shape, and this one is. I like the way it leans over a little bit and then tries to straighten itself up by moving these, growing these trunks out this way. And those broken pieces of sea foam look pretty good that I stuck to the bottom here. They're always useful, so don't chuck those away. They do for the bottom branches of the trees, like this one here. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Very good. So we'll put it on the layout now. And there it is, in place. Not bad, that. Maybe the next one will be better. But you never know until you try. So happy modelling. Cheerio.